I guess it had to feel a little bit satisfying, given the way last year ended, for you to win an award and have a 2-pick game and all of that. Did you have a little bit of time to reflect on that?
Yeah. The main thing I took away from that was just being appreciative of being able to play again. After breaking my leg last year, I didn't know if I was going to play football again. That was a decision I made after a couple months of thinking if I actually want to do that again. So just making the decision to still play football and then being able to play at a high level on Saturday really just made me feel appreciative, like, of having the chance to play again and taking that opportunity to.
Jay.
For the defense as a whole, was that game sort of a sigh of relief to show that you can have sort of a dominant performance?
Yeah, that was. It was good to see all three levels of the defense play well together, D-line, linebackers, and secondary. D-line getting great pressure, linebackers filling gaps, and then DBs covering well, making plays at the perimeter. So I think that's a confidence boost for us, and it lets us know that we can do that. So now we got to uphold that standard and do that each week.
Looking at the interceptions, how many times have you practiced that tip drill before you finally got a little success there?
I wouldn't say we actually practiced it, but in practice, Coach always says tips and overthrows, we got to get those. So whenever the ball is tipped, in practice, make an emphasis on trying to secure the interceptions, whether it's diving, tipping it back to us, or throwing it back to a teammate. So, we don't really practice it too much, but when it does happen, we have prepared a little bit.
You guys kind of changed the rotation a little bit and rolled with you and CP Lee. Was that a little easier to just kind of go out and just play and not have to worry about whether you're in or out or anything like that?
No, we practice different rotations throughout practice. So, I kind of went in the mindset of getting rotated out, but if I didn't, I knew that I could play a whole game because I've done it before. So I wasn't really too worried about it.
Any thoughts on Bowling Green's offense? I know they have a real veteran quarterback back there.
Yeah, they got a solid offense, solid running back core, solid receiving core, and they have two solid quarterbacks that we're preparing for. We're gonna have to prepare well, play our best game against them. They got good schemes, gap scheme, and they got some playmakers out at the perimeter.
Coach talked about, focusing on shutting down the edge and practicing that. I believe yesterday you guys were going through some drills there. What is your role in that?
Particularly in the drill that you're describing, my role is to fill the alley. But there are certain defenses where I do have to secure the edge and force everything back inside, and that was a big emphasis in yesterday's and today's practice, securing the edge and then letting our middle field safety and our linebackers be able to fit those alleys and fit the run. It's harder to pursue if it gets outside, if they capture the edge. So our whole thing is box it back in, let them run in between the tackles.
Good.
You've played in some of these, quote-unquote G5 games and seen them go a little pear-shaped on you guys in the past. Is that something you talk about to the team this week to make sure everyone's locked in and not too overly excited over what happened last week to make sure you're ready for Bowling Green?
Yeah, I've done it. Coach has done it. Focusing on ourselves. Don't worry about the level of our competition because we've won some of those games and we also lost some of those games. So we know how that feeling goes. Can't get too high, too low within the season. Just trying to stay even keel and work on ourselves. Get better at what we struggled with from last week.
Anything else for Jaylon? Okay, we'll go ahead and get started with Kyle Kennard.
All right, Kyle. So Coach said you had some heart-to-heart Sunday, Monday about some of the penalties, some of the aggressiveness. Kind of tell us about that and what this past few days have been like for you.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the penalties hurt us as a team, but it's just a thing where I got to channel my aggression and use it more towards what I do in my production on the field than other things and unnecessary things after the play. So we're just getting better with that.
I imagine there had to be, as a guy who really prides himself on his pass rush.
Sorry?
I said, as a guy who prides himself on pass rushing, I imagine there's frustration the sacks weren't come, and then they all come in one game. Just kind of talk about just sticking with it and finally seeing that success.
Oh yeah, definitely. We try not to change our mentality about any game. I try to go out and make and get sacks every game. Just how it happened this game, we were put in a position to do so, and things were just freeing up for me out there. So yeah.
With a little different offense you're going to be facing this week, does your role change at all, or you're still going through the same progressions that you normally go through in a game?
Like I said, we're pretty much going through the same progressions, trying to implement the same techniques, get better on things that we weren't good on last week. But other than that, things are pretty much staying how we do it.
Kennard?
I guess, how do you prepare to when you face all these different offenses? Kind of, is there different techniques? What do you do to prepare yourself for that?
Definitely film study is probably the most important. Just watching different tendencies because in one way or another, a lot of opponents we face, me specifically with the O-line, they're one and the same, but there's something different about this guy and different about another guy that we just got to pretty much study on and take advantage of throughout the game.
I was curious, the offensive line, the pass protection's been a lot better kind of across the board. Do you feel like that's something that's helped you guys, particularly in the preseason and leading up to the season, seeing those guys, their progression as well, kind of iron sharpening iron kind of thing?
Definitely. I told them that after the game that they get us ready week in and week out. They're our teammates, so we compete against them every day, so they know our tendencies, so that makes us better when they shut things down that we normally do. It helps us with other things that we want to do in the past game. And those guys definitely had a good game, so they help us out a lot every week.
Rod?
Has the play of guys like Biggers and Horace and some of those guys in the middle, has that helped you guys on the outside free you up a little bit?
100%. A lot of the sacks I had would never happen if the guys didn't get an interior push and get the quarterback off his spot and made him fall in my hands. So definitely big up to those guys. They're getting a lot of knockback up front and getting the quarterback out their spot. You're doing a really good job at that.
Anything else for Kyle? Awesome, Kyle. Thank you. Appreciate
Yes, sir.
Going back to your first start, how were the nerves before that game, and did it take just a couple of hits before you lost all those nerves?
Yeah, the first game was crazy. Being in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium with a massive crowd like that, first game of the season, Chick-fil-A kickoff game, it was a big game, and I mean, really, I wasn't expecting to go in like off the jump, really, because Corey was obviously the star at the time, and shout out to Corey, great mentor. He's helped me a lot along the way, and I wasn't really expecting to go in that much. I was expecting to go in, if Corey was gonna get tired, and then I ended up going in end of the first quarter, and when I stepped on the field, I took one look around. I was like, all right, let's do this. I was like, all right, let's get after it. And yeah, I mean, I was pretty nervous, but I was focused and I was ready to do my job. And really after the first hit, it was just football. Really, it was just me and the guy in front of me. So.
Let's talk about the run game. What have been your impressions of running the football? Have you guys been pretty good? Can you be better?
I think we've been really solid running the football this year so far. I think we've done a phenomenal job with our coaches helping us learn how to properly get the right landmarks and run in the right spots, And I mean, over fall camp in the summer, I had to learn pretty fast how Coach Wade, Jeep Wade, my offensive line coach, great guy, I love him, and he's really helped me figure out how to properly run the game as an offensive lineman. And really, I think we've done a really good job. There's some room for improvement in certain areas, but I think we're gonna get better as the season goes on. We're gonna run the ball. So.
Obviously, Coach Key's been in your exact same shoes, literally playing as a true freshman. Kind of what has he told you about it? Obviously, he recruited you here as well. Just kind of talk a little bit about your relationship and how he's kind of helped you through this.
So Coach Key's done a great deal for me. So originally he was supposed to be my offensive line coach before I came here, right? Obviously the change up with him as being the interim head coach. Then now he became the head coach. But when I came to camps when I was a sophomore, and I was 236 pounds. You know, I was like a smaller tackle, and you know, he told me if I put on some weight and fill in my frame, then I can be something special. You know, I can be a part of this team. You know, and I put on that weight, you know, and came back around for my senior season, and I got the offer. I got the phone call from Coach Key, and I was so happy about it. You know, and being here with Coach Key as head coach, you know, you think like a lot of head coaches don't really take too much time to like talk to like certain players, you know, and Coach Key's pulled me aside like a multitude of times over fall camp, and he's been like, hey man, just you know, like, because like he's telling me, he's like, you got your head on a swivel, don't you? You know, like it's like he's telling me like, calm down, you know, stick to your rules and everything, and he's helped me a lot when we do pass pro drills and practice. He comes over with the offensive line. He helps us out a lot, and he's taught me a lot. So he's done a phenomenal job.
Would you rather play in a run-first offense, a pass-first offense, balanced? What's your preference? Do you care?
For me, I don't really have too much of a preference. You know, I mean, I'll do whatever I need to do to get the job done. You know, and I mean, I love run game. You know, I love hitting the dude in front of me. I love pass pro. I love it all. You know. So I don't have too much of a preference on what I got to do, you know.
Right.
Couple of questions. One, what do you weigh now? And secondly, what do you feel you need to improve on to move forward with your game?
So right now I'm just around like 290, 292. And really what I need to start improving on is my pass pro. I mean, there's certain like things with my run game, and I also need to develop myself more in the weight room and everything like that. But my biggest thing right now is just working on pass pro and my feet and learning how to hit the right spots at tackle, you know.
Kelly.
What's it been like? You know, I think everyone thought you were going to play some, but maybe the expectation wasn't to start and play as much as you have. And I'm sure with Corey and everything, you thought probably, oh, I'm going to play some, but weren't sure. What's it been like to start these games all in a row now and play so many snaps?
I think it's been a great opportunity for me and a great challenge too. And you know, I mean, I wasn't expecting this challenge, but when I was presented with the opportunity, I've tried my best to do my part and do my role as left tackle, you know. And I couldn't have done it without my coaches and the rest of the offensive line. The rest of the offensive line especially have really helped me out. You know, they're constantly like, keep me up, keep my head up if I mess up, telling me the right things to do. And I've really just have a lot of great role models next to me playing.
On that same topic, how much has it helped having Joe next to you, and kind of what's that relationship like between the two of you?
I love Joe a lot, and he above everyone has really helped me. You know, like he's constantly like if I'm doing something wrong, he's the first guy to get on to me to get it right. And he's constantly helping me in like the film room if we're going over plays, and if I'm confused about something, he comes over and helps me out. But he's been the first guy that's come up to me to help me on anything, you know. So
With Coach Faulkner liking to get the ball on the perimeter a lot, does that make your role even more important as a tackle?
Yes, sir. I say to an extent, you know, running a lot of like screens and getting on the outside zone, you know, I have to be able to run and reach the defensive ends, you know, to get the ball outside, you know. But I mean, that's probably one thing I think I can do pretty well is I'm good at running. I'm good at running outside and get my landmarks.
Anything else?